And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. I'm just looking at my lovely backdrop. You know what I'm saying? You look in the back, you see some mountains over there. You see Jerry Jones's tower out in the distance. There's a golf course over here. I'm in this elevated suite space, Brian, bro. What they say this is? This is the Yamava Resort and Casino in San Manuel section that I'm sitting in right now, kind of elevated, looking over the field. Brian, we have going through day 2 of training camp. I got some notes today, Brian. Yesterday, I was able to just kind of recall everything off the top of my head and all that. And, it was fine. But, Brian, I felt the need to pull the notepad out today and get the business going, okay? So, Brian, let me get ahead of some low-hanging fruit, but let me actually put some real football context to it and why I think it's important, okay? There was a big dust-up on the field today. There was a big fight on the field. Okay, the fight's not important though. You go on social medias and all that. Maybe they're talking about the fight. One thing that our audience was kind of like concerned about, Brian, is that Shotty is like a real buddy guy. He's a real happy-go-lucky guy, and there should be balance even if you're a player's coach. But today, what I was able to see, Brian Broaddus, with that fight, with that little skirmish on that sideline I was standing on, Brian, Shotty stopped practice. Turned the music down. NBA YoungBoy, who it was, he turned the music down and he loudly reprimanded his football team, Brian Broaddus. There was some cuss words. There was some finger waving. You're moving with your uncle and auntie in Bel Air, finger waving, and the music was down. And it said, "Hey man, we're not gonna have none of that. And if I see it again, you're getting sent home." More so in the way of we want this intense practice, but y'all need to be focused with that energy. Now go back out there and get the practice, and they line back up and they cut NBA YoungBoy right back up, Brian Broaddus. So, not more so about the fight that's important to me. I don't care about the fight. That's low hanging fruit. But Shotty, the disciplined guy, and his balance from being like player guy.
Yeah, I think today, he likes the physicality of his practice. That's what he's trying to get out of it. He likes what he sees, with his players flying around and trying to get to the ball and finish and all that. That's big. The thing he didn't like was Sam Williams taking a swing, and hitting another one of his teammates in the back of the neck. Yeah. And that teammate kind of taking a knee for a little bit. He didn't like that.
Troy Pride.
Troy Pride got hit. And then Troy Pride was, and had to kind of, he weren't able to continue practice at that point because he got hit, but then, later he was okay. That's the thing I think that set Schottenheimer off. I don't think he minds the players going at it and being competitive. The fact when you swing at somebody and you hit somebody and then that player, gets injured, you always worry about players getting in these fights or taking a swing at somebody and they take their fist and they hit somebody and then next thing they get a broken fist and now they're out. They can't, that's the thing. And then you're absolutely right. The choice words where he dropped a couple of F-bombs on him, and basically told him like, we're not going to be doing it this way. So he had a problem. He doesn't have a problem with the physicality. He doesn't have the problem with the pace of the practice. He's trying to get his team a little bit better conditioned. But when he started to see people swing at each other, then that's where he had enough.
Brian, I thought something was pretty interesting today. This is the second time I've gotten a chance to see practice, and we've made comments about the energy at practice. There's literally, Brian, I think coaches that are hired to run sprints. After something happens, after like a big play happens, there's coaches that are hired to run sprints to that play. Like the energy's up. What I've noticed the last 2 days, Brian, is maybe the offense starts out really well, but the defense has the endurance of the practice. The defense shows more endurance at the practice. See, the offense may start off better. They may start off in a rhythm, throwing it around. But at the end of the day, the defense always kind of wins in the end. They're flying around and they're getting turnovers. We actually got a chance to talk to Kenneth Murray today over there in the media scrum. I don't know if this video was out, but Kenneth Murray mentioned it, but also Shotty mentioned it earlier, is that the defense is going to have the emphasis on taking the football away. And Murray mentioned that Eberflus wanted 40-plus takeaways on the year. 40-plus. And, Brian, if you play how you practice, it seems like the defense is in line with that because they've been taking the football away day one and day two.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right about that. I think today the defense actually had the better of the day. I didn't feel like today that the offense ran the ball with any effectiveness that they did yesterday.
Right.
There were a couple of plays where, it got bounced outside and Turpin, a couple of edge runs. But other than that, there was some big holes in and I know they're not in pads and all that. And it's 2 steps and push and all that. But yesterday it was clear that the offense I felt like was winning a little bit up front, and they were a little bit better running the ball. Today I didn't feel that. I felt like the defense, I think that Schottenheimer's, I think with Eberflus's, I think they're working a little bit more on playing a little bit of slant front, where they were trying to kind of like if they're going to be a little lighter, a little smaller,
Yep.
being able to play play a shade and then like work that gap. We saw it a couple of times on the edges. I know Sam Williams had a tackle for loss where he was unblocked. We saw it yesterday with Fowler,
Yep.
with these edges and their ability to kind of go down inside and cause those problems. And, I thought the linebackers did a little bit better job today. I thought the point of attack guys were a little bit better. There weren't the runs that were opened up like there were yesterday, but it was clear the offense too was working a little bit. They threw the ball a little bit more. I think that when you start to talk about Joe Milton's a little bit more willing to throw it down the field right now, take some chances throwing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was a couple passes like Dak threw one down the field that, to a really nice play by Span Ford along the sidelines on a play where he broke to his left.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of quick game stuff today. It was a lot of getting the ball in CeeDee Lamb's hands. It was a lot of getting the ball in Turpin's hands. The comeback routes a couple of different times with Tolbert involved. I just felt like that the offense was trying to work on some things, and a lot of it had to do with that quick game, but they didn't run the ball with the effectiveness they did yesterday.
Yeah, I agree, Brian. As I'm sitting listening to you, smelling fresh cut grass from the practice field here. Joe Milton does throw the ball deep more, but I feel like he's missing
Yeah.
a lot. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, he'll miss. Oh yeah. Yeah.
what I have to do, Brian, is I have to go back and figure out, is he throwing deep because it's what he desires, or is it because of the play call,
Yeah.
or is it like Joe's missing reads? Because sometimes I do feel like Joe's holding the ball, and by way of him holding the ball, he has to throw the ball a little bit down the field because his timing isn't there. And then we'll see Joe Milton either run the football or just kind of throw it deep. And Joe Milton looked impressive running the football, Brian, whether it be breaking from the pocket or the read option that he had today. We actually saw a read option where the edge crashed and Joe Milton pulled and ran it. So that's a new little wrinkle today, Brian.
Yeah, no, we were kind of talking about what kind of offense is this going to be. And, yesterday you saw a little bit more with the 12 personnel stuff, the exchange with the tight ends. Today you saw a little bit more with like some of the fullback with Hunter Luepke, with Fant being able to play a little bit more offset that way. Like yesterday was a little bit more about movements and motions and stuff. The motion of the day was, I guess, what they call a yo-yo, where they line up the back and he goes outside and then he comes back. He goes from where to start back and forth. And so that's one of those motions that you run to kind of show, is it man coverage or zone coverage, and that's just, if you get that motion, then all of a sudden the quarterback knows, okay, they're playing man on me right now. So there wasn't as much motion as we saw, I think, yesterday. That today was more kind of and he was talking about static football and stuff like that. He didn't want to do it. It was really more with the backs and stuff today than it was with anything else with the receivers. A lot of 3-by-1, 3 receivers to one side, another receiver to the opposite side. But that was setting up quick game stuff for them for sure.
Voch Lombardi and Brian Broaddus on the Doin podcast. We're live here in Oxnard, California. Voch is in the Yamava Resort and Casino at San Manuel private suite here. Brian, me and you talked about this a lot. I love to give me and you credit. I did a video on it actually about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. But I was talking about Turpin, the running back, Cavante Turpin, the running back. And I understand that we can have our hopes and dreams for him as a receiver. But last year he had about 16 carries for 80 something yards, something like that. But when it's like when you gave Turpin the ball with purpose, like not as a reverse guy, not as a jet sweep guy, Turpin actually got busy. So this is 2 days in a row where we're seeing Turpin take handoffs, sometimes from running back, sometimes motion out wide. I kind of believe Shotty when he says Turpin's going to be involved this year.
Yeah, I do. And, it's clear that it's funny. I was watching him catch punts back there today. I was just trying to kind of figure out he clearly is the best punt returner you have. But you also had Tolbert back there, and then you also had Cropper back there. And Cropper seemed to have the most trouble. But, there's clearly,
Yeah.
when you talk with Turpin, he is one of your best weapons. And however you can get the ball into his hands. I'll tell you what, he made a really, really nice downfield play. It was a free play. I think there was an offsides, and Dak took the opportunity. So he took a shot on a free play, and Turpin was down the field, and he was able to, Turpin was able to make kind of an adjusting catch, falling away. But he's become a much better receiver. Even the last couple of years, getting him the ball. He doesn't have the ideal length of the reach or anything like that. But if you put the ball on him, he can make some plays, and Dak found him down the field. But they're going to use him in the running game, and they're going to use him in the quick passing game as well.
Let me tell you what's so special about the Doing All Right podcast. Brian Broaddus here from live in Oxnard, California, is everybody's kind of going to have similar talking points on the day.
Sure.
But I made it a point of mine to focus on trenches. You know what I mean? So everything, I kind of saw everything today, but my main focus was offensive line, defensive line. And if I see linebackers and running backs as a result of that, then cool. Brian Bros, let me tell you something. I don't know if you noticed. Tyler Guyton had a damn good day. Guyton had a damn good day. Just by way of the sideline that I was on, because, we're on this far sideline over here because we was on this field today, so I was right there.
Right.
I got a lot of time with the left side there. Tyler Smith, I don't want to be so comfortable not acknowledging him because he's so good and so steady that I don't even talk about him. He's just so good right now. But Tyler Guyton, I must say, Brian Broaddus, I found myself 5 times saying, "Good job, TG. Let's go, TG.
Yeah.
Good play, TG,"
Yeah.
before I noticed it. And then I started pulling out my little camera glasses there just to get some more film out. There were like 9 or 10 good plays where it's Marshawn Nealon, same draft class, you know what I'm saying? And Marshawn Nealon's he's a rotating NFL player. He's playing on the field. Marshawn Nealon and Sam Williams, that's where the fights really got good. Guyton felt comfortable. Guyton had good posture. Guyton wasn't leaning as much. He leaned one time, but that's an old habit he got to break. So it's going to happen. But for the most part, big chest, bending at the knees, and he was striking with his hands. If y'all want to see this, it's all on my social medias. Go to Voch Lombardi on Twitter, and you'll just see some of that video. I got a chance to look at all the left tackles today: Austin Richards and Nate Thomas. Nate Thomas is playing left tackle, by the way, just in case anybody's keeping score. Nathan Thomas.
Did he'd been playing right tackle at the OTAs and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
He'd been line. He was the backup right tackle is what he'd been behind Steele.
Yep.
You caught him on the left side is when you got him. Yeah,
he was full blown third string left tackle today, and that's where I kind of tracked him. I was tracking all the left side guys today, but Tyler Guyton was impressive today. I don't want to make too big of a deal out of it because pads ain't on. Maybe when pads come on, Marshawn Nealon puts his head in the middle of your chest and run through you. But just as of today, from what I saw, Tyler Guyton looked real comfortable out there, Brian.
Yeah, I think the thing with Tyler Guyton, and I was up above watching him, and there was only one time, and I don't know if you saw it. They went double A gap. It reminded me of the old Mike Zimmer defense, and I think that maybe this is where Matt Eberflus probably was watching some tape of the Cowboys last year, and he said, "Oh wait, Micah Parsons had some success as a double A gap blitzer." So they put it in to see what they look. Well, Micah's not practicing, but it was Murray and it was Sanborn, and so they were kind of just giving it a look. And then what happened that Osa Odigizua was playing a little bit of a wider technique, and it ended up where he got onto Guyton, and Guyton had some problems with him there. But there was other time where Sam Williams was rushing him, and he was able to handle it quite well. Sam tried to kind of bully him a little bit, but you mentioned the footwork, the hand placement, the body position, the knee bend. All that stuff was really, really, really good. I did catch one time though where where also though our left guard, or excuse me, our right guard Tyler Booker,
Mm-hmm.
they got enough something where it ended up being a twist front,
Yep, he was leaning a
and
little bit. He was leaning. Yep.
he got caught. He got caught. Ezra Raku got him on a twist front, and so when the twist front got him, he was just a little bit over skis, and Ezra Raku, the ball ended up like he pulled off Dak. It could have been a sack. He's going to go through and he's going to get the sack, but Dak made through and the ball went downfield and it was a play, a catch. But in my mind, I'm going sacked by Ezra Raku, loss of 6. Where it was in the pocket. And,
Yeah.
but I think overall, though, when you watch the offensive lineman, and I think you're absolutely right about, with Guyton, it was just that one time where the quickness got him a little bit
Yep.
of Oso Digizua.
Mhm.
But other than that, I think the body position, the balance, all that stuff was pretty darn good.
Brian, one more thing I kind of want to touch on here. Just another player that I think should be taken serious is Brevin Spanford, Brian Broaddus.
Yeah.
I think Shotty and them, they're gonna really put an emphasis on tight end this year, because what I notice is every time they do a lot of shifting and motioning,
Yeah.
you will notice, the wide receivers shift sometimes, but it's a lot of tight ends and fullbacks moving around. You know what I mean? So
There are a lot of exchanging. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot of emphasis on tight ends moving around. So you're going to have to need multiple tight ends on the field. Jake Ferguson had a really good day, but like
He sure did.
in terms of tight end too, I think that's just kind of wide open, Brian. I think Brevin
Yeah.
Spanford is whooping feet on the rest of the tight end competition.
Yeah. No, I think that your eyes are not deceiving you at all. And by the way, just for the record, uh, Jason Ferguson, or excuse me, Jake Ferguson is your backup long snapper.
Mm.
I one time got yelled at by Rich Bisaccia before a game, and the old special teams coach. I went up and said, "Hey, Rich, can you tell me in case who your backup long snapper is? This is a preseason game." And he looked at me. He started MFing me. He goes, "What kind of question's that? Why do you want to get my snapper hurt?" And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm sorry. Just trying to do my job."
Right.
But I was watching, and Jake Ferguson did a pretty nice job as the backup snapper today behind Sieg. But yeah, I think he had a good day catching the football. Clearly, Dak is comfortable with him, and he's moving around well. He's catching the ball well. Spanford the last 2 days has been better than Luke Schoonmaker.
Yep.
He has, and Luke Schoonmaker has not been bad, but Spanford looking far more comfortable catching the football. Made a nice, really adjusting catch. Dak gets flushed to his left. I think you remember the play.
Mm-hmm.
Dak gets flushed to his left, and he's kind of looking,
Over
and
the sideline. Yeah.
along the sideline is Spanford, and it's going to be a bang bang play. And Spanford was able to keep his feet in bounce, and then able to make the catch. And there were a couple different times where that he was catching the ball down the field. It's like he's extending. He looks more comfortable. I think 2 days into this, he has been the guy that looks like to me that and I was talking about him as a way of, if he can feel comfortable catching the football, that's going to be the key. He could very well win this job over at Luke Schoonmaker. And 2 days into this practice, he looks like he looks comfortable catching.
Think about Brevin though, Brian. All he was really missing was like the pass catching, right?
Yeah, I didn't think his hand placement. I didn't think where he had his hands, and he just didn't look comfortable doing it, Voch.
Sure.
It looked like to me like, when you throw somebody a ball for the first time and they really don't know where their hands are. Some of these guys are able to just, the hands are always in the right spot and able to adjust. But Spanford, he looks far more comfortable than he has at any point in time these last season, and then also what we're doing with right now.
Man, Brian, I don't want to be irresponsible, sir. Because I can be very irresponsible. I can do it. I can hop on this radio and say all kind of flagrant stuff, Brian. But, when we talk about Hunter Luepke and the things that we kind of want Hunter Luepke to be, we always go to that dude in San Fran, right? We always talk about use check and how they're using him.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, I saw Hunter Luepke line up wide in the trips today.
Yeah.
He was the middle guy in the trips. Then the next play, he was at fullback, shifted to tight end on the left side. the next play there's some kind of ace formation. He's the integrated
Right.
tight end from the ace formation back to a
Right.
strong eye type of situation. Brian, if if they say we're gonna get guys involved, like I feel like the previous administration says we're gonna get Hunter Luepke involved, but their
Yeah.
idea of that
Yeah.
at practice was just kind of throwing it to him and just handing it to him. That like you could do that with
Right.
anybody, but the fact that I see Hunter
Right.
Luepke lining up everywhere, shifting and motioning Brian Broaddus, I can only assume that Hunter Luepke is really going to be a part of this thing, especially if the Cowboys are going to be using a bunch of tight ends.
Yeah, usually I know the first time that we saw Hunter Luepke when they played the trips, and then he's the outside guy to the slot, so he's the guy inside there. And what they did that with him before was they tried to create space so that you could get CeeDee Lamb up the field. They were trying to create a matchup where they had the tight end outside, so they tried to stretch the defense and then give CeeDee a shot. And so that's usually when you see that kind of that exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So they can say, okay, well, let's put a guy outside and then see if we can create some space, with that. But yeah, Hunter Luepke has been, and Kyle Juszczyk is the ultimate when it comes to being able to play a lot of different positions. And the reason why we talk about San Francisco as a power running team is because the ball generally goes behind him. And there was a time when Hunter Luepke was not a very good point of attack blocker. He's gotten much better. He used to be what we call a half man blocker. He'd go in there almost sideways and then, not be square, but he's doing a much better job of squaring up, button nose to nose, and then being able to, the last thing you want to do as a fullback is you don't want to go in there sideways and turn, because that gives the back only one read. You want the back to not to have to hesitate, and you want to give them two reads the way they can go. And Hunter Luepke's done a much better job of that.
Man, Brian Brown, let me run something by you that's going to separate us from some of these other shows, man. I'm going to just run this one more topic by you. Do you think we're talking about Keymon Hall enough?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We're constantly talking about corners and corners being hurt, but Brian, the cornerback conversation requires a gang of nuance. Like Jordan Lewis ain't here no more. Jordan Lewis gone. You got to think for yourself now. And Deron Bland was out today. What's going on with Bland? I don't know if he was
had a baby. Yeah, had a child today.
That can hurt too. Shouts out to that injury. Shouts out to Deron Bland, miss for a baby. But okay, so cool. He's out. But Brian, like if Bland is out, Keymon Hall is your only other true nickel corner. Are we not talking about him enough?
Yeah.
Because when he was out there, he made his plays, got his interception. He's just as scrappy as he was last year. You know what I mean? So are we sleeping on him?
Well, yeah. No, and not at all. And by the way, tip of the cap too to the media practice darling, which would be Elam. Kyrie Elam is another. I mean, after we were all holding our breath with Pickens laying on the field, with Pickens with the cramp and that whole thing, I'm just so quiet. And they moved the drill up, and then the very next play, Dak throws the interception to Elam, and but good play by him. But I think with Hall, he is one of these guys that all of a sudden is when they're running the first nickel package, he's the first inside guy, and then it turns into the guy that's been playing behind him is Israel Mukuamu. Yeah. But it looks like to me that Hall has made more plays, or or put this way, has not allowed more plays. And I'm not saying that Izzy's allowed plays, but Hall, there's no reason for Hall right now not to be out there playing. He hasn't done anything that's made me feel like, wow, this guy is a liability as a player.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll show up, but at least through 2 practices, it sure hasn't.
Brian Broaddus, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna come back here tomorrow, get another practice in. They're gonna have a day off after that, I believe. Ain't Thursday?
Yeah, Friday. No, Friday. Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday, and you will absolutely. Yeah, today is Wednesday, so you're gonna have
It's all good. Brian brought his internet just crapped out on us a little bit. It ain't no problem. You a content creator. You got to be able to work on the fly. Basically, what he was saying is that we're going to have one more practice tomorrow, and then we're going to have an off day and come back and do 3 more days, and I'll be headed back to old Texas where it's 110 degrees outside. So that ain't going to be fun for nobody, but it is what it is. We're basically going to wrap the show right there. I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me. Y'all can follow me at VOCHLOMBARDI, and that's BRYN Bros. We're gonna be on the Cowboys break tomorrow at 10 us 12 y'all. Well, 10 Pacific, 12 Central Time. 1 Eastern. All right, so there y'all go, and be sure to tap in to the Cowboys break with me and Brian Broaddus is on it. Hey man, I love y'all to pieces, man. That's all we have for y'all. We ain't doing nothing else. Look out for all the other content we got going on. I'll be going back live in the morning, giving you like a practice setup and another video and another episode of Doing All Right. All right, y'all hold it down for the Doski Woski and the Peace Whiskey. Until next time, Crown.